Hmm. Let's make a biodome from Christmas decorations and coasters. It was a slow weekend, alright? Hello and welcome back to the State of Play. Now, if we've chatted on Instagram or Reddit, you'll have seen these before, so I thought now was a good time to make some of these for your table. Law experts will probably say that plants don't grow in the underhive, and they'd be absolutely correct. They can't. But I do remember reading somewhere at some point that an entire underhive was found filled with plants and was overgrown. Let me know in the comments if I dreamt that. I can't remember where I thought I'd read it. Anyway, law aside, you have to have some plants in order to have medicines. I don't care what happens in the far grim dark future. One of the Goliath models has a cigar in his mouth. Tobacco is a plant. Don't tell me he ordered it online and had it delivered. Someone on Necromunda is growing tobacco somewhere. It's completely unrealistic on any level not to have some form of plants in the Necromunda universe, or at least be able to grow some, and that's just how I justified to myself making a biodome for Zone Mortalis. But you can make this and use it in all manner of games. What will you need? 10cm diameter cheap coasters. I picked these up from Hobbycraft in the UK for £4. Most coasters are 10cm. I have no idea why, maybe there's a coaster society that defines the rules. You'll also need some 10cm diameter Christmas baubles, those ones that come apart so you can put stuff inside. Basically the baubles and the coasters should be the same size so one will fit over the other. You can always sand the edges if not. Some 11cm circles. Now I originally used these cross-stitch circles also from Hobbycraft for £1, but they don't seem to do them anymore. Instead, for this, I cut my own from card and plasticard. You'll need a bunch of hobby tools you probably already own, and one you may not. Oh, and you'll need some sturdy shoes. More on those later. I know you may have seen something similar made on YouTube before, but I wanted mine to work with all the stuff I'd previously built. I didn't want them to look out of place next to this Sector Mechanicus terrain. In fact, I wanted them to connect to this, whilst also connecting to a range of other things. And to be able to use them in Stargrave or some other post-apocalyptic setting. This is nothing more complicated than a bunch of different diameter circles laid on top of each other like a hamburger. Or a veggie burger, depending on your culinary preference. First thing to do with this Hobbycraft set is cut off the dowel holders with a hobby saw and sand them flat. Then flip it over so you can't see the marks left over. Now you need to grab your other circles. Chances are you won't be able to find any 11cm wooden circles because it's a non-standard diameter for almost all things round. So you'll need to make some. I made some from both card and plasticard. Card is cheaper but plasticard is easier to cut, so go with whatever you prefer. I have this circle cutter that I picked up on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. I get a bit of a kickback from these links, so you don't pay any more, but I receive a little bit of commission. Just make sure the link actually goes to the product I'm talking about. Occasionally Amazon One link will link to a closest match in your country. I found that when cutting with this thing, it works best if you actually turn the card rather than the cutter. Yeah, it's weird, but it works better. With card, you will have to go around multiple times to get a smooth, clean cut. But with plasticard, you score the plastic once, and then you can literally just crack it out. Make a few of these so you can lay them on top of each other depending on the thickness you want to go for. Once you've got all your circles, glue them together into a burger, like this. Around the edge inside here, you'll want to grab as much tiny junk as you can find. It really doesn't matter what it is, as you're just trying to make this look like tiny bits of machinery, pipes and vents. I used everything from straws to old toy car wheels, beads, bits of cereal box, wires, old sprue, absolutely anything I had lying around at the right size. Just glue them all in place, packed as tight as you can. Some kind of super glue works best as it's quicker. The one other piece that I added was one of those plasma conduit ends that came with Zone Mortalis. I had loads of these left over as I didn't use them. Interestingly, these kids' toy pipes I bought for my concrete walls connect directly to these pipe ends so well. It was like they were designed to work together. The smaller end fits perfectly into these ones, and the fatter end into these. Then I trimmed these and glued them at the right height to connect to the rest of my pipes and terrain. Now spray everything dark brown all over, including the top circle we haven't used yet. Spray this one on both sides to stop the wood from warping. Most of these cheap coasters will warp if you don't glue them flat or if you only paint one side. If one side is wetter than the other, the wet side will expand while the dry side doesn't, and it'll curve. So always paint both sides of cheap wood or card. I'm not going to go into painting this as I have an entire video on painting rusty terrain you can watch on my channel. It's long but skippable with chapter marks. Take the top circle. This is the one where we want to have all the plants. The way I tend to do groundwork is to create a first layer of brown earth. I use this bag of stuff that I got in a cheap set from Amazon, which is basically railroad modelling stuff. Cover the top with thick PVA all over and sprinkle it on. When it's dry, I take this mixture of 25% PVA and 75% water and a bunch of flow improver and drip it on where I want grass. The flow improver stops the mixture just sitting on the top like a little white bubble, so it soaks in. Sprinkle your static grass over the area and shake off the excess. Repeat as needed to get the grass you want. You can use an expensive static grass applicator if you want, but I'll let you into a little hobby secret. You remember as a kid, you'd rub this on your jumper and it would make your hair stick up. This works exactly the same way with static grass. Rub the balloon on a woolly jumper and pass it over the grass and watch it magically stand up. And a bag of rubber balloons is so much cheaper than a static grass applicator and, well, infinitely more fun. After this, just glue in what plants you want in the biodome. There's 100 ways to do this. Paper plants, tufts, fish tank plants, whatever you like the look of. Just remember you're going to put a dome over this, so big plants in the middle and smaller ones at the edges. Just keep laying the dome over the top to test the heights. Then glue this on top of your base in the center. To make a broken dome, this is where the sturdy shoes come in handy. Take a dome, put it in a large box, and stamp on it. The box stops all the bits scattering everywhere and stops your floor getting scratched. Be careful when doing this. Seriously, this is not an insane TikTok challenge. I'm sure you could use a hammer, but I found that damaged the plastic where the sole of my boot didn't. You learn something new every day. Once you've got all the pieces, you can glue them to the edge of the top circle. To hide the join where the dome meets the base, I printed out some hazard stripes. You can also do this by spraying a square of cereal box yellow and painting on black stripes, then wrapping it around and gluing. The last thing to add was a vent with a hinge to all of these so it would look like there was a mechanism for opening the dome. This part here is just the top of a Zone Mortalis elevator cut in half. This piece is just a plasma pipe end, and the tubes are just plastic rods bent in hot water to match the curve of the dome. All the cracks in the dome I just scratched on with the tip of a scalpel. One final thing. After I'd made these, my overly analytical brain kept telling me that if these things were real, how do people get their plants in and out for shipping or sale? They aren't going to have to climb up and down the sides every time, are they? So I guess they needed some form of shipping ramp. But I didn't want to make one ramp for each dome. By this point I was thinking about the next project, but the ramp thing kept bugging me. After some thinking, I came up with an idea to just have one ramp that could be moved around. This thing is totally optional, so I'm not going to go into how I made this in detail, but it's basically just cross-stitch plastic, cardboard, plastic rods and some toy car wheels. cut, assembled and glued together into a ramp. At least this way I now had another piece of scatter that I could move between domes. 1 ramp, 3 domes. And these things now all connect to all the other pieces of terrain I'd made for my table. They connect to the Sector Mechanicus machinery, the plasma conduits, the columns and walls, and to each other. I can use these in Necromunda, 40k, Kill Team, Stargrave, Zona Alpha. In fact, I can use these in any situation where I want another type of terrain on the table. And I like the circular look to stop my table always looking like a bunch of square objects. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do like, share and leave a comment, as it helps YouTube show the channel to others. I'll catch you in the next one. I'll be busy for the next few hours.